When it comes to new games, especially in the AAA industry, I am always cautious even if the game is going to end up looking really good. I'm like, how are they going to screw this up? And maybe that means I'm going to go into a game a bit too cautious, and maybe even have these thoughts and focus on things that might even not be associated with that game. But the games industry, with all of their nonsense, and now that they've done it for so long, that I think going into the game where you are going to see someone try to push a progressive agenda on me, when all I wanted was to be entertained. I want fun. I don't want to be preached at. I don't want modern crap inserted into my game. So throughout social media, I saw that Avowed had its final preview shown off, and it was here that it was revealed that they were going to have some form of pronoun options for their game. Could this mean that the entire game is now infected? Or maybe it's just related to the initial player choice here. Let's discuss. Look, when I first see this option for the pronoun selection in a game, it has me concerned and thinking about different areas of the game as well. The big one being is that I know that player choice and character creation is important in these types of RPGs. You want to create your own avatar. So as a concept, I understand that more options usually means more customization for the player. The pronoun one just baffles me though, because if you are then identifying as another sex, then why not just choose to play as them then? Like if you are transitioning, isn't the end goal to then be the gender of what you identify as? Meaning if you are a dude and you identify as a girl, then in that case just select a chick when you're playing the game. Why just be in the middle form of it where you're a dude that identifies as a woman or something like that? This is where it just doesn't logically make any sense to me, and where I feel like more of this stuff is just more to try to be virtue signaling with your game to gain some type of social media checkboxes, make sure some of those crazy progressives are happy, and of course appeal to that modern audience. I mean, one of my best friends always chooses to play as a girl whenever given the option for an RPG. His reasoning was always that he would rather stare at a girl's butt than a guy's for the entire game. That sounds like good reason enough to me. Now, I don't know if this game goes as far as trying to appeal to the progressives by including options like chest scars and all that stuff. Again, pronouns and all this stuff feels like a contemporary modern thing, like a modern topic and discussion that is then being inserted into a fantasy world. Whereas you are playing the game or even just creating your character, you are then ripped out of the experience and world and continually reminded of this modern day nonsense. I don't get it and I don't understand it. Now you could make the argument that this was done with Starfield. I have not played that game yet, I want to. I honestly would like to give it a try. I did see in the beginning that it makes you select your pronouns for your character creator. Something I thought was kind of funny and honestly clever is that someone on PC made a mod to remove that option from the game, and then some mod sites ended up removing that mod from their site. I thought the point of mods was to be able to enhance and personalize your own game, even more if you want to. I mean, that is one of the many reasons why PC gaming is really awesome. You get this awesome layer of customization and options that you don't find on consoles. So if people are making simple mods like this, then the site should just keep them up. You see the argument on Twitter because like if you don't like it then you should ignore it. Well, a mod can potentially help someone just ignore it and then proceed to play the game they want to play. But when a mod site then essentially cancels the mod, that is then sending the message that ignoring it is simply not an option. And then the crazy people want us to then have this as a required feature that all players are then forced to engage with. So what is it? Is it not a big deal or is it a big deal? Because with most of the stuff surrounding this, with progressives especially, everything just flips on a dime to always benefit them and their agenda. I mention all of this because I wouldn't be surprised if we see mods like this for Avowed, especially when it comes out, and then see the same offenders try to cancel those mods again. Now back to Avowed. When looking at this, I think most of us were thinking, hey, maybe this will turn into a really fun fantasy RPG. But with the inclusion of the pronoun selection, this could just be the tip of the iceberg, or it could be an isolated incident. I haven't played the game or seen anything else that points to stuff that could be super in your face, like quest lines or characters trying to preach over entertaining. Honestly, if the game is good and the only progressive nonsense is seen within the character creation, and most importantly, the game is really good, I could probably look past the pronoun selection nonsense, and better yet, there will probably be some form of a mod that you can then use if you want to take all of this out. So let's just say that happens. That might be something I can stomach. But the thing with this progressive stuff is that it tends to never really stop right there. We could be in a situation where there are prominent plot points or large side quests that deal with the modern issues of gender. If that is the case, that is where this game is going to be way too pushy, sort of like they are trying to beat you over the head with it. But at the same time, you could argue, and they'd be right, that inclusion of this pronoun stuff is just like beating the player over the head with it, because it feels like this stuff is everywhere in AAA gaming. So from here, I look at how players are, even many that like to watch my videos, but I look at Avowed right here and try to see how other players and gamers will also feel with this news. I have even read some react to this news as being the reason for them not buying the game now, in that they are potentially boycotting any game that has this option in them. And while this is a hard stance on the issue, I completely understand that stance. They don't want to compromise on anything related to this, and I think this comes from how we've been berated with a lot of this stuff in many of our favorite games. So I think we have reached a point where a large portion of gamers are just sick of seeing this stuff. So let's say Avowed is a good game, great even, and the only pronoun progressive stuff is in this selection. I will respect those players opting to not play it because of it. For them, giving in any amount will not solve the overall problem for them. They have tolerated it, and now we are here where we're getting this type of stuff. I do think situations like this are more nuanced than what we see, but like I said, I respect those who give a hard no, because their reasoning makes sense, and depending on the situation, I would probably feel the same way. I wanted to make a video on this because this is something that's sort of a red flag that lets us know with this new game it might have a hidden agenda sort of thing to it. Or is it going to be a good game that happens to have some checkbox elements? I will tell you right now, if this ends up being another Dragon Age the Veilguard thing, I will probably be right there highlighting all of this ridiculous nonsense that they're trying to push there. If this is a situation where it starts and it's left at the character selection screen, then maybe if you're interested in it, look for that mod to take that stuff out. Or if you so choose, don't bother even playing it and go do something else. I want to make this video as a means to discuss this with all of you. I am really curious about where many of you stand on this. Is this something that is sort of a breaking point for you? Is it a red flag for potential worse things to come? Were you interested in buying Avowed, and now you're not interested in it anymore? Let me know all of this in the comments down below. If you're interested in supporting the channel, please check out my Patreon page. For just $1 a month, you can help to keep this channel going strong, and this allows me to be able to do more for my awesome audience. Please check out the links in the description and pinned comment for ways to support the channel. And most of all, thank you very much for watching.